Hi guys, my name is Heidi K and I'm here to talk about mental illness and how it may affect yours, family members, friends' lives as you go throughout, and maybe I can help answer some questions for different people about how it may affect all the people in your life, including yourself mostly. Mental illness has many bad things said about it, the way people feel about it. It is scary. It can be very scary, actually, not only for the person who's going through it, but the people around you who don't understand it. I am trying my best to reach out because my whole life I have wanted to help people. Have I done it correctly? Probably not the whole time, but I'm trying to learn. And through this, I'm going to show you as weeks to come. I'm going to fine tune this channel and see what I can do about learning as I go with you in this process. My name is Heidi K. I'm 41. Today is my 41st birthday, and I am following my dreams by reaching out and letting people know my story so that way if somebody feels alone or as if nobody understands, you can look back and say, I kind of went through something like her, or I had something that was close to that. Let me make something clear. Everybody's feelings are different. How we react to things are different. How we look at people is different. I, for one, react quickly. I am a person who doesn't always think before I react to situations. And with that being said, throughout my life, I've had lots of relationships that have been affected by this. I've had my family become distant. I've lost many friends. Some I hope come around in time. Can't fix what you broke when you broke it pretty bad. So you kind of have to just go with the flow and hope forgiveness plays a part in the future. For now, I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about myself, and then towards the end of this, I will get into my diagnoses and how it affects my daily life. Again, this isn't to be put out there for anyone as if I feel I've been through more than anyone else. It is to reach out and say, you're not alone. And I wish I had a video like this to watch during these last few years. So if I can lend a hand in helping with others' recovery as I go through my own, and you join me in this journey, then I am grateful that you've joined me and we learned together. One thing about me, I'm a big crybaby, so off and on you'll see my eyes tear up and my nose run. Probably should get some tissue. But let me start from the beginning. I was born in Colorado. I love Colorado. Wasn't there very long and we moved to Arizona. I can't remember a lot of my childhood in the earliest years. What I do remember were some sad situations. Some may call them tragic or trauma situations for a child to be in. So when I was about 4, my brother that was underneath me or younger than me, he fell into a pool and he became unconscious, and I watched my mother and her friend frantically bring him back. And that is one thing that clouds my memories as to the good things that happened around that. I can remember cousins and our family being close during that time. And then I remember things unraveling as they do, with guilt or sadness as to what has occurred. My brother was okay. He made it, and I don't know. Some people say there's brain damage, but I think we all have a little brain damage. He's actually a great guy and been through a lot with me through the years. So through this, I'm grateful he survived. My mom and dad, after that, I'm sorry, I know it's hard to watch somebody cry, but this is real life, and if I'm going to do this, I have to be really honest with you, and I have to be really honest with myself. After that, my mom and dad slowly unraveled. It wasn't an easy divorce. Both of them did the best they could with what they had to work with. Any parent going through a traumatic experience like that, there's no book on how to handle it afterwards. But for kids too, going through the divorce, which is what ultimately ended up happening, it was very confusing. And as a young child, I didn't handle it very well. I was in and out of counseling. They went to court and different things to try and resolve custody and things over the years. I remember being with my mom more and my dad on the weekends, and then as time went on, I remember moving in with my dad down the line too. Again, like I said, my memories from my past are blurry, very, very blurry. So what I do remember, I'm sharing with you. During this time, my mom worked very hard, and we had different people come in at different times, as well as we took care of ourselves to watch us. Mostly at night, when she had to work her night job, and unfortunately, something occurred with somebody who was watching us, and I was physically touched in ways that I think throughout my life has affected me so much so that it went into every relationship I ever had with men. So with that being said, I was molested around 10. After that, I remember being very, I guess I would say sexually oriented. I like the attention from boys, so I wanted it, except for in high school, I really didn't have a boyfriend. I never really kissed anybody as far as I thought, except for when I was younger. I have different memories of kissing different people in my life. Sorry guys, this is a lot, but I'm gonna do this. This is my dream, and I want to help you guys, and I want to help myself, so let's do this. I did confess to or not confess, but let my mom know what was occurring at this time, and that person did stop watching me. Because my mom worked so many jobs, there was a lot of pressure on her. And I don't think it was easy to be a mother to, I needed more attention, to a daughter who needed more attention. I had two brothers also who needed attention at the time and were deserving of so. But she didn't believe me at first. So that affected me greatly, thinking that I was making things up. I would tell myself all the time, "Are you making this up?" And I know I didn't. I wish I did. But I truly wish I did. Because I think that was the beginning of a spiral for depression. I went through high school and I played sports. Badminton. I call it sports, but call it what you like. I also was the mascot for my school when we went to state. My sophomore year. My senior year, I met a guy through my stepsister. Oh, backtrack. Dad got remarried. I got a new little brother and an older sister out of that. And also down the line, I got a half brother. So altogether, there was 6 of us. And back to high school, my senior year, I met a guy through my stepsister who ultimately beat the crap out of me. Not only mentally, physically. I already didn't have a high outlook on myself. So, him beating into me when I wasn't that good, or he would say nasty things about my hygiene or my looks, that affect you throughout the years. And after that, I felt pretty strong. My mom and dad pretty much saved me from that. They came up with a plan to somehow get me away from him for a minute, and my dad contacted him and he threatened to kill my father, and that was all I needed. I am a great protector of others, but when it came to myself, I couldn't. I don't know what happened. It was like I froze every time. When you're laying on the floor and someone's kicking you, all you can think is, did I really deserve this? What did I say? What did I do? Why does this keep happening to me? But when they came up with that plan and he said he was going to kill my dad, that's all it took. It wasn't going to happen anymore. It wasn't going to hurt my family. No matter how many bruises I had on my body. I remember my brother and his best friend coming and picking me up. And I felt so safe when they helped me get my stuff. And I never looked back, and I felt so strong. I felt so strong that I got rid of them. With the help of my family, of course. I'm not gonna lie, a couple months later. Oh, sorry, go back again. During that time, I was still a virgin. And unfortunately, he took my virginity, not with asking or telling me that it was happening at the time. Honestly, I thought he was fingering me, but he wasn't. And then he said he was done. So I'm not sure if you call that rape or what you call it, but sure as hell wasn't what I imagined. But it wasn't my fault. I know it wasn't my fault. Doesn't make it go. Moving on to a few months later. I really always wanted to do helping people and volunteering, so I went to a festival here in Arizona and I volunteered for one of the tents. Ended up getting involved with a charity that also brought in college students from around the state. And it was hard work during the day. And I remember going back to the tents because they set up a place for us to have tents and stay because we were volunteering for the festival. And I remember one of the guys giving me a drink. It was in a big plastic cup, not a solo cup, but a bigger plastic cup. I don't know what was in it. I'm pretty sure it was vodka and orange juice. But besides that, I don't know what was in it. And through a series of events that night, I don't really remember very much. I had a friend of mine there with me, said they thought I was okay when they left. But I woke up in this gentleman's tent, not having any recollection of how I got there. Felt very disgusted and violated. And I got dressed quickly wherever I could find my clothes in there and crawled back to my tent until my mom came. And then I made her leave the festival altogether. I drove quickly to a Denny's, went to the bathroom, and lost my entire dignity down the toilet. I don't know what happened. And at that time, I'm not surprised. Because from then on, alcohol, smoking weed, trying different drugs throughout my life to see if it would numb the pain or take it away became a way of life. When I was about 22, that all occurred after high school with the festival. When I was about 22, I met another guy who I thought was going to be my world. And it's crazy how quickly you can feel like that's going to happen with somebody. And it didn't, obviously. And along those lines became a very long string of series of bad relationships. Excuse me, folks. I'm sorry for the poor video, but gotta be real. And as time goes on, I will perfect the art of making this work so we can communicate better. But for now, try not to get sick from the jiggliness. Okay, so something went wrong between us. It was like one day it just switched and it wasn't a fairy tale anymore. And everything in my life was going down the toilet along with this relationship. And this person had no problem grabbing a hold of me and taking me down, the toilet with them as they were going, and I didn't know what else to do but hang on for dear life, thinking that was the only person that understood me, or um, I can honestly say I don't know. I don't know why, but over the next year and a half, it was like torture. He would come in and out of my life, and finally one night I went to a party that he was at, and he decided to take me into the bathroom at one point, and he had his hands around my neck and telling me that I was flirting with his friends, which wasn't the case, because that's just, it wasn't the case. And then he proceeded to take some girl by the hand up these stairs and have intercourse with her so loudly that we could hear it downstairs while friends snickered in the corner. It's a very sad situation when people think it's okay to act like that, knowing that I'm standing there like, is somebody going to stop this? And people know what I'm going through, but yet still allow it to happen. I vow never to be that kind of person. If somebody is in a situation that I see is crushing their world, I'm not going to stand in a corner and snicker. I am going to grab that person and hold their hand while their world is falling apart. Because everybody deserves somebody like that. Everybody. After I could hear everything, I just proceeded to do keg stands, get wasted, and when he came down the stairs sweating, I asked him if he felt better, and he said he did. And I went outside, and apparently, I guess my drunk butt was talking to a cat that was on a fence. And so he came out to straighten me up and slap me a couple times. From there, I remember walking. I don't know where I went, except for I went to like a convenience store. I don't know which one. And called my roommate at the time, who came with a knife because she heard how badly I was. After this incident, I became a cutter. I couldn't deal with my pain, and I kept thinking, it's not okay to cry this much. It's not okay to hurt this much. But I did. It hurt so bad. I felt like my whole world was coming apart. And all you want to do is be loved. So after that, sorry guys, give me a sec. The cutting and the suicidal ideations began. And within a year, I had been in and out of hospitals with trying to overdose on medications. What they thought was me trying to kill myself through cutting was just cutting. I'm not saying just cutting, because cutting is a serious thing. I did it because I wanted to give myself something to cry about. Not all people do it for that reason, but I know that I did. So if you know somebody who is going through or cutting themselves, please don't ignore it. It is a sign to bigger and more prominent things that need to be addressed. So I ask you, as a person, please don't sit by and don't pretend like it's not happening, because it's easy for a lot of people to do that. I am not judging. Mental illness is a hard thing to deal with, not only for the person who has it, but the family and the friends as well. I will mention that all the time because it is very true. Again, I've lost many friends through this. I'm not blaming my mental illness, because my mental illness is not completely controlling of me. I have some. Other people do not. So with them and their diagnosis, it is per case, per person, per individual. So please, as a human, I'm asking you all as other humans to have a heart and also have a sixth sense and know that something is wrong with this situation, because more and more we're seeing that we're losing people to suicide. Which brings me to my next big thing after a year going in and out of hospitals and having one of my brothers tell me that he couldn't live this life without me, and making me kind of see that I need to stop. Something's got to give, and I got to stop trying to get rid of myself. I got out of the hospital on many medications. They tried all kinds of stuff. And I'm not blaming medications. I'm not blaming doctors. I'm not blaming anything anymore. All I'm saying is this is what is, this is what happened, and this is who I am today because of these things. And again, if I can help one person along the way, I will. So through these medications, my mind has been altered multiple times. I, for one, am a big advocate for if it can be helped through diet, exercise, good, what's the word? Oh, God. If it can be done by being more aware of yourself and understanding and being understanding with yourself, then medication is not always the answer. However, with other diagnoses, medication is absolutely necessary for the survival of a human who is going through that mental illness. There are many medications that have been made through the years that have had adverse reactions. You don't hear on the commercials for no reason, may cause suicidal thoughts, because that is very real. It's very real. Throughout the medications that I've been on, I have had in the beginning a lot of times where it's very hard, which right now I'm going through such a thing. I just came off of a medication that I was on for 6 years and never had such bad withdrawals from anything in my entire life. Again, I really haven't been on any kind of street drugs or anything where I've gone through withdrawals. Probably have gone through with some withdrawals with alcohol because I have been a huge alcoholic off and on throughout my life. I have not worked the program. At this time, I drink on occasion. Never a good idea. It's never a good idea for me. But for some reason, I do. And I'm not going to lie about it. But again, with the medications, per person, per individual, and per case, that is something that should be looked at. If the medication in the beginning you can tell there's something very seriously wrong, I ask that you definitely go and get something done by a doctor, or you go to a hospital and express yourself, not through anger, or because not everybody can understand feelings. I mean, I'm sure there's probably quite a few people who have turned this off already because I've cried, and that's okay. I really don't. It's if it's too hard for you, there's nothing I can do to stop that. But again, if I can help anybody through what I've been through, I'm going to do it because that's my dream. I have wanted to become a public speaker for a very long time, and I've said a lot of things I was going to do, and I just didn't get to it. So back to being 23 in the hospitals, on and off medications, very mind-altering kind of stuff, not really understanding life. And I was very distant from my family. I was ashamed. I was scared of what was happening to me because I didn't understand how I could be so sad all the time and how other people weren't this way and why didn't anybody understand. So I got a call from my dad one day, and he asked me to come and help because we had horses and things at my dad's house. Lots of animals. There was always lots of animals and things. Excuse me again, folks. Many animals. And my stepmom had surgery and he needed to go out of town, so he asked me to come and help over at his house. At this time, my youngest brother was there, and while I was there, um, my second youngest brother arrived, and I had not seen him in quite some time. He had gone through quite a lot in his life as far as his traumatic moments, and I cannot speak for him. I cannot tell you what he was going through. All I can say is I wish I knew more then, that I could have reached out a hand. But while I was staying at my parents' house, helping my stepmom after her surgery, he was there, and he had been on and off drugs for quite some time, meth actually, after he had had a traumatic brain injury in a car accident, and a very traumatic thing happened to him. He was on and off drugs, which does happen to a lot of people that go through different traumatic brain injuries, and they feel they're just not themselves. And it again, any kind of mess with chemical thing that happens in your brain, whether it be using of drugs, the medications they put you on, strokes, or just whatever it could be that could happen to somebody's brain. Just be aware that I don't know, people want to be the way that they are. As miserable as they may seem, they're probably the ones that need the love the most. So remember that when you see the grumpiest old man on the street. You never know what's going on. So again, back to my brother, he was different. But again, I hadn't been around the family for a long time, and I knew he had been on drugs, so I wasn't very patient at the time, which through the years I have blamed myself. Again, this is when I was 23, and today I am 41. The night that I was there, uh, we had dinner, and I was very exhausted because I knew I was going to have to get up at 5, and I was not good at getting up in the morning. And I went in to check on my brothers because both my youngest brothers were in the guest house on the computer. And I remember my second to youngest brother asking me to listen to a song by Jewel. And I didn't really take the time to listen to it. I'm not very happy with myself for that. Today, I would say if anybody ever asks you to listen to a song, it's kind of like an open window to their soul. It may tell you things you needed to hear that they couldn't say themselves. So, with that being the case, please open your ears. And when somebody asks you to listen to something that may be dear to them, may actually help you keep that window open and keep them safe, honestly. So, the next morning I woke up at 5 a.m. to go feed the horses, and something was off. I'm not going to run through the day because I will cry, but I'm going to tell you, he did decide to commit suicide. And he shot himself, and I found him. From that day on, I promised that I would never put my family through that again. And for 16 years, so 16 years, I have not tried. I'm not sure I believe that. I think when I've been drunk, I've taken sleeping pills wanting to end it. And that's not okay. Drinking was my way to numb the pain, but it also made me never be able to deal with what I had gone through with my brother. And during that time, I had a best friend, and we could party it up like nobody's business. We could party beer and, the gallons of Jack and smoking weed till all hours of the night. Like, I mean, you're 23, 24. She was younger, so, I mean, we could stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning and then get to work at 6 o'clock and still go all day and do it again the next night. And through that, I made a lot of good memories, but I also numbed a lot of pain. Oh, the memories we made. Through that time, I had a lot of series bad relationships. When I lost my brother, I was in probably one of the best relationships I've ever been in my life. Looks like I have ears behind me. That's funny. And through the pain I was going through and the anger, sorry guys, it's 36 minutes already. Through the pain and the anger, I thought it might be a better thing to let him go. To just say, hey, I think you're better off without me. And doing that, I hurt him very badly. And to this day, whether he admits it or not, I'm truly sorry for doing that. Because he was there for me when I lost my brother, and he's somebody I truly respect. And I did not show him any respect during that time. After him, I tried relationships, even got engaged once for a little while, and that didn't work out so well. Um, so I'm gonna get into my diagnoses now, and for the next time, I'm gonna prepare more about the diagnoses. But for now, I just wanted to get a meet and greet kind of thing on and put out there that this is not for attention. This is far from it. This is me reaching out to others who have gone through anything in their life, anything. No one's worse. No one is more worse off than the other, nor am I worse off than anybody else. My experiences are my experiences, my traumas are my traumas, as well as yours are yours. And I want you to know you're not alone in the pain you feel or the sadness. So that is why I'm creating this, and I wanted you to get to know me a little bit. So my diagnosis is when I was 23, when I went into the hospital, it was major depression and anxiety. As the years went on, it became major depression, anxiety disorder. There was really no name for it until about 7 years ago in Colorado, when I admitted myself into the hospital after saying I would never try and kill myself again after finding my brother. I was diagnosed with PTSD from the different traumatic situations in my life. Now, my PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder, but it's non-combat. I have not been in a war, so I have no idea what those brave souls go through on a daily basis, and I don't even want to begin to put myself in a category of those heroes, not even a little bit. So, um, 3 years ago, I got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and most recently in November, I was diagnosed with bipolar 2. There are many phases to bipolar. I wish I had known all these years that it was part chemical imbalance, part trauma, and bad learning coping mechanisms. My coping mechanisms were the alcohol, the anger, and none of it was correct. So, through this journey of learning to recover from these things that have occurred in my life, I want to share them with you. Again, today is my birthday, and 3 days ago I started a brand new medication after a rough ride of getting off a medication that I was on for 6 years that had very bad withdrawals. I will go into that in a later one because that is something I probably need to address all in one as far as medications goes. So right now, with all of my diagnoses, I am on one medication. It is Latuda. We are starting fresh to see what happens. I have tried many. This is my first time with Latuda. And so, yeah, we're going to see what happens here. I'm at the moment very isolated. Do not hang out with very many people because I'm an empath. I do suck in people's energy and I begin to put expectations on people's lives that don't belong to them, and thinking that I'm helping. And again, if you can't help yourself, you can't help anyone. So I am helping myself and hopefully helping others along the way in this journey. Thank you guys for listening today and for learning. And if you made it through the 40 minutes, wow, you're my hero too. Thank you for taking the time to watch. And I hope that if you have any questions, you feel free to ask. As time goes on, I will get more comfortable and learn how to fine tune this. But for now, signing off, guys. Bye.